Okay, so Agatha All Along, episode 2. Okay, we went from true crimes to zany super fast. Okay, so this episode was all about Agatha putting together a coven because Billy wants to walk the witch's road. And now we know that not only can he not say his name, but he's not able to tell Agatha anything about himself. Unfortunately, she's not telling Billy that he can't do that. Now we know he has a boyfriend, but my question is how does he communicate anything about himself if he can't tell Agatha? Or is this spell just for someone like Agatha because she knows who Wanda is? And his boyfriend, well, he's no danger because he's not going to go after Billy. So they start with Lilia. Now, considering how old of a witch she is, maybe Agatha knew very well who she was, that she was just putting on airs to see how Lilia would react, because she obviously knew to come to visit Lilia. Played by the great Patti LuPone. And now, maybe it's just my ears, but I'm pretty sure Billy had his accent. And by accent, I mean Joe Locke's accent a little bit in the first episode, and it's now gone this episode. But it could be my ears. But anyway, so Lilia coughs up names for Agatha's coven. And Billy is entertained because she's on the list. Which, she's a seer. How did she not foresee that? So, obviously Lilia knew exactly who Agatha was. And it seems like maybe Agatha had a sense. But once she said her name, then it was like, oh, I know you. Not sure. But anyway, it turns out that each one of these witches don't do so good in the real world. So Lilia has an eviction notice, which both Agatha and Billy throw in her face. And it's just sad that people are like, who is this kid? And Agatha has to be pithy about it because, well, she doesn't really know who Billy is. He can't say his name to her. He tried to tell her his life story. That didn't work either. So Lilia's on the list, so they give her Agatha's address. Then they go to visit Jennifer, who is next on the list, and she's a potions witch. Then they visit the last one, who doesn't believe the witch's road exists. Well, Jen doesn't seem that convinced either, but the last one is adamant that the witch's road doesn't exist. It's just a song. And Agatha's like, don't you want to know what happened to your mom? Now, then she does something really bitchy. I know, Agatha doing something bitchy. What a shock. But there is a fourth name, which Agatha is very, very aware of who it is. It's Rio Vidal, because she specifically said in the last episode she has a black heart. And so she decides that obviously it must mean someone else. So she's taking this poor innocent woman who's already been through enough with Wanda's spell. She was Mrs. Hart under the spell. She's now Mrs. Davis. So that explains that discrepancy. But she doesn't want to admit that the fourth witch she needs is Rio Vidal. So she brings her to this party, and you'd think once they are singing the Ballad of the Witch's Road, which obviously she doesn't know, or that the house is literally rocking, you would think that that would be her clue to, I don't know, leave the house. Because I don't think the Salem 7 would have gone after her, because she is not a witch. They are after, possibly, they're after Agatha. Possibly Billy. Because, just because he doesn't know how powerful he is, doesn't mean the rest don't. Now, it's rather disappointing that what Billy wants is power when, he just thinks that he just has a few words he can say, like breaking her out of the spell, and he thinks he needs more power. Even Agatha was like, you just broke the spell of a really powerful witch, and you want power. So yeah. Now, whether he's saying that to appease Agatha because she wouldn't believe him if he said his actual purpose, which is to find his mother, find the Scarlet Witch, or, either one, because she's already, a little, she knows a little bit about the fact that he can't tell her anything about himself. So she's already, curious as to what's up with this kid. Even though she's treating him like dirt. And you could see on Billy's face that he's not thrilled about what's happening. He feels like Agatha would leave him behind. And if the Salem 7 hadn't attacked, maybe she would have. I mean, she didn't seem at all interested in finding out what was going on upstairs. So maybe she would have left him behind if the Salem 7 didn't attack and he ran down to the basement to tell her what's happening. I mean, he didn't tell her it was Salem 7 because I doubt he knows who they are. So Billy takes the lead in walking down the Witch's Road. Now, they talk about how dangerous the Witch's Road is, how it's a death sentence, at least for those who believe the Witch's Road even exists. I can't remember the third witch, what her name is. And she didn't even believe it existed, even though supposedly her mother disappeared in the Witch's Road. So either that's a defense mechanism that the Witch's Road doesn't exist, or she truly doesn't think it exists, and that she was not raised to be a witch. So she was able to find Agatha's house because she used to be a detective. Again, I wonder how much of that is that she's a witch and, less about her detective skills, that there was some magic involved. So, yeah, the really bitchy thing she did was to bring Mrs. Hart along because she's not a witch. And if this road is as dangerous as she claims, as everyone is claiming, the one who's most likely to die is her. Which, I mean, come on. So I'm hoping that absolutely nobody dies except for maybe the Salem 7, possibly Rio because Agatha is supposed to be the anti-hero. So obviously she's doing it because she wants power. She even tried to get the witches to attack her, but Lilia is actually intelligent and is like, yeah, you want us to attack you so you can drain our power. So, yeah, Lilia is not an idiot. Um, so they end up down the witch's road, but the witch's road disappears, the entrance disappears before the Salem 7 have a chance to follow. So I don't know if that was a defense mechanism of the witch's road, that you guys aren't the ones who sang the ballad, you guys aren't not allowed in, or if it was just a coincidence. And apparently they have to take off their shoes. And like I said, I'm so worried about, well, I'm worried about all the witches except for Agatha, because Agatha and Billy are, well, Agatha is in the name of the show, so she's obviously going to survive the witch's road. Billy has to survive because he's Billy Maximoff. He's got to find out that his mother is Wanda Maximoff and that he has her abilities. Reality warping abilities. Now, as to the other other two, yeah, I worry about them. I hope that they make it through. I hope the only people who end up, if anybody does end up dying, because this is more of a comedy horror, so I'm hoping, and I did have a jump scare when one of the Salem 7 grabbed Billy. But if someone were to die, if they're going to do that on this show, because the last 2 episodes air on Thanksgiving, on Halloween, I hope it's the Salem 7 and possibly Rio, because they all want to kill Agatha. And like it or not, she's the protagonist of this show. So probably not. And plus, now that the Fantastic Four are coming into the MCU, and that's how she was introduced, was as a nanny for Franklin. I can't imagine that they would kill Agatha. Plus, she's the main character, so I doubt that. Billy, again, doubt that they're going to kill him off because, well, if nothing else, he has freaking reality warping powers. Now, his boyfriend is an actual actor. He was at the premiere and all that, so I'm really curious how they're going to incorporate that, because if this series is just about going down the witch's road, obviously there's no place for Billy's boyfriend. So there's got to be some flashbacks, or there's something about the witch's road that's going to invoke things, like maybe it's going to invoke Billy's boyfriend, or, that loved ones are going to be, even though they're not actually there, it's just a projection. But yeah, I'm curious how they're going to do that. I really hope that everybody gets what they want. Agatha gets her powers back. Jennifer becomes unbound. Lilia gets her true strength back. The third girl, which I hate that I cannot remember her name, I hope that she is that she gets reunited with her mom, or at least finds out what happened to her. Obviously, because they showed a close-up of like this rat, I'm going to say that she actually does have magic and knows she has magic, and that she can turn into these creatures. I'm going to assume that next episode is when we see Rio joining. How she managed to do that, I do not know, but it looked like in the previews like she was breaking out through the ground like a zombie. Again, I hope that nothing bad happens to Sharon, because Jesus Christ, you bitch. I mean, why would you do that? I mean, it's great that you know that under the spell she was Mrs. Hart, but you know damn well that they were talking about Rio. Why would you not just claim you have no idea who this is, but actively find an innocent person who thinks they're going to a party, and it turns out it's witch stuff? So, yeah. I know she's the protagonist and she's supposed to be the anti-hero, but I just cannot root for her if she's going to do that. Billy, I'm rooting for, because obviously there is something that's preventing him from telling, at least Agatha, his name and anything about himself. So it makes me wonder if that's because Billy has a different idea of who he is than who he actually is. Or, I don't know. But he says he wants power. I'm questioning whether that's true. Maybe it's because I don't want Billy to be like that. But I'm questioning whether that's really what he wants, or if he's just trying to appeal to Agatha. Sort of like Lilia appealed to Agatha by mentioning where the gold bars are. And so that's where the episode ends. And I believe I've covered everything I wanted to this episode. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video.